Hey guys, Virgin Vinyl with you again today, continuing the journey from a vinyl newbie to a full-blown junkie. Today I've got this guy right here, Mr. Rick Wakeman with Journey to the Center of the Earth. So, of course, Rick Wakeman is famous for being the wonderful keyboard virtuoso from Yes, and contributing to some of the most important and awesome Yes albums ever made, Close to the Edge, Fragile, and really creating a completely unique approach, which harnesses his classical training and his love of the bombastic. And when you think of the prog rock sometimes has a bit of a gets a bit of a bad reputation amongst the so-called cool intelligentsia of music, that think it's overblown and pretentious and like a big wank or whatever like that. And when you think of somebody who sort of embodies that, it's hard not to think of Rick Wakeman in his cape, with his gigantic sort of racks of keyboards surrounding him, and playing this sort of bombastic music. I always sort of have the opposite feeling, actually, that prog is far less, is not pretentious at all. It's very earnestly trying to be bombastic, and it's very earnestly trying to be as entertaining and pushing itself as far as it can go, in a genuinely creative, like in a genuine search for a creative ecstasy, like a creative apex of extraordinary playing and extraordinary composition, and I think just the way that prog has been portrayed by the music media over the years and by some people, like the kind of people who think that Lou Reed is cool, and that's like what non-pretentious is. Like Lou Reed is the pretentious one, that's what I think anyway. Like he's the one who can barely fucking play, and everybody thinks it's the greatest thing ever. Although that being said, he does have some good songs, don't get me wrong. But anyway, it is true that that prog can be I think it's comical because of that earnestness, because there's that earnest approach to trying to entertain you with all it can give, and so sometimes it ends up being kind of funny and kind of cringe. And Rick with his long blonde Nordic locks and his cape, billowing next to his giant sort of surrounding of keyboards, is quite sort of comical when you think about it. But it's also very fucking awesome. And this album is when Rick finished with Yes, actually I'm not sure if he was finished with Yes at this point. When is this? When did this come out? Actually, 1974. So, Rick did a bunch of solo albums, and some of them are much better than others. All of them are a bit of a slog to get all the way through, but have, like the Six Wives of Henry VIII has some. I find it hard to listen to that whole album, but if I take one track at a time, it's always incredible. this, I mean, and all throughout that album, there's incredible stuff. King Arthur, I actually like that a little bit more than Six Wives of Henry VIII. But my favorite one has always been this one right here. I love this. And, you know, like, I think it's because, like, as a kid, I always loved that James Mason movie, you know, I think was made in the 50s, maybe in the 50s or early 60s. I think it's 50s. I think it's got to be 50s. Just the tone of that movie that feels like it hasn't sort of crossed over yet into the sort of the free love era of the 60s. But, you know, that movie, Journey to the Center of the Earth, it's so, I don't know, it's so charming, and I still love that movie, even though it's like, it sort of strays from the original source material of, who was the writer? Was it Jules Verne who wrote the original book? Yeah, Jules Verne. Jules Verne wrote the original book, which was adapted, and here Rick is much more faithful to the source material, to the book itself. So the story is here, what's written on the back, Journey to the Center of the Earth. The story begins on the 24th of May, 1863 in Hamburg, when Professor Lindenbrook and his nephew Axel, which is changed in the movie, discover an old parchment in a 12th century book called Heimskringla, a chronicle of Norwegian princes who ruled over Iceland. The parchment, when decoded into Latin and translated by Axel, proved to be written by an alchemist of the 16th century and read as follows: "Descend into the crater of Snellsjökull, over which the shadows of Skartaris falls. Before the calends of July, bold traveller, and you will reach the center of the earth. I have done this, Arne Saknusson." Sneffels is a 5,000-foot high mountain in Iceland, an extinct volcano, its last eruption having been in 1229. And so the journey from Hamburg to Iceland begins. So, you know, that's basically how the story, that's the premise. And then, of course, you know, you have here the band, which you have a narrator. So the narrator, he's reading. At points, he'll read excerpts from the book to sort of point you on the way, and then the songs fill in the details. And it's great stuff. I mean, I love it. I think it's and it's with an orchestra too. So it was recorded with the English chamber choir and London Symphony Orchestra, and recorded live at the Royal Festival Hall in London. So it's a live album as well. So that's really cool. I don't know. I see people talk about this album being cringe or not so good, and I can really get it. I really can. I can understand that. It's but I personally love it. I find it really fun. It's really enjoyable. I like that it's a little bit sloppy and loose all over the place. I like that in music because I feel like it's much more human, you know, than what we get these days where everything is all perfect. And I don't, you know, humans are not perfect. We are dysfunctional retards, you know, who fuck everything up. Even when we're at our best, humans make mistakes. So why should our music, which is supposed to reflect us, be all perfect? I don't like it. I really don't like it at all. But back in the day, it was all about the performance, and the performances here they're a mixture of sort of really, really excellent and sort of exciting and really sloppy. So it makes it quite a fun listen, in my opinion. And I like the story as well. I mean, this is prog rock, this is bombastic, this is over the top, this is cringe, this is goofball, and I love it. I love every second of it. Anyway, that's it for today. Thanks for watching. Hit subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow.